The massive observation deck of the Galactic Council's research vessel hung silently in space, its advanced cloaking systems keeping it hidden from Earth's primitive detection methods. Inside, 12 of the galaxy's most renowned scientists stood motionless, their various appendages and sensory organs fixed on the holographic display before them. Dr. Gray, the lead researcher, moved his long, spindly fingers across the control panel, zooming in on a human gathering taking place in what the data identified as a comedy club. His large, silver eyes narrowed as he watched the strange scene unfold. Most troubling, he whispered to himself, making notes in his neural recorder. Subject Group 247 displaying the behavior again. Facial muscles contracting. Rhythmic vocalizations emerging. Signs of what they call laughter present in 94% of the observed individuals. Behind him, Council Member Root's tendrils twisted in obvious distress. How can they function like this? Their faces keep spasming. Their bodies shake. By all known medical data, these should be signs of severe neurological distress. And yet, Dr. Gray responded, adjusting his viewing lens. Their vital signs indicate pleasure. Even more bizarre, they deliberately seek out situations that trigger this response. The observation team had spent 3 Earth years studying human behavior, and this particular phenomenon continued to baffle them. Every other known sentient species in the galaxy expressed happiness through calm, logical means. The Arcturians released pleasant scents. The Mendaxians changed colors. The Voltrans hummed at specific frequencies. But humans did this strange, chaotic thing called laughter. Watch this recording, Dr. Gray said, pulling up another hologram. Human soldiers in a combat situation. Their vehicle is stuck in what they call mud. The situation is clearly dangerous. And yet, the aliens watched in horrified fascination as the soldiers, despite their predicament, began making jokes and laughing while working to free their vehicle. They laugh at danger, Council Member Root observed. They laugh at pain. They even laugh at concepts that don't exist. They call it abstract humor. How can we possibly establish diplomatic relations with a species this unpredictable? Dr. Gray's assistant, Researcher Park, stepped forward with another troubling report. We've discovered something even more concerning, she said, her crystalline form shifting nervously. Human laughter appears to be contagious within their species. One human begins the behavior, and others join in, often without knowing the initial trigger. The room fell into uneasy silence as the implications sank in. A species that could spread behavioral patterns without direct information transfer. It was unheard of. There's more, Dr. Gray added, pulling up comparison charts. Humans are the only known species that uses this behavior for multiple, often contradictory purposes. They laugh when happy, yes, but also when nervous, when angry, when sad, and sometimes for no detectable reason at all. Council Member Root moved to the central platform, their authority evident in their posture. We must modify our first contact protocols. This, laughter, it defies all known models of sentient behavior. We cannot predict how they will react in any given situation if they can find amusement in both success and failure. Dr. Gray nodded in agreement, but couldn't hide the fascination in his voice. Perhaps this is why they've advanced so quickly despite their technological limitations. Their ability to laugh in the face of adversity seems to grant them unusual resilience. The council members began filing out of the observation deck, their movements betraying their unease. Only Dr. Gray remained, watching the humans in their comedy club, still trying to understand how a species could turn facial spasms and strange noises into a tool for survival. As he made his final notes for the day, he couldn't help but wonder, were they right to fear human laughter, or was there something about this bizarre behavior that they were all missing? The answer, he suspected, would change galactic society forever. The grand meeting hall of the Galactic Council's diplomatic vessel gleamed under soft blue lights. Tom Reed, Earth's first ambassador to the stars, straightened his tie and tried to look confident. He was about to become the first human to officially meet representatives from 27 different alien civilizations. The council members sat in a perfect half-circle, their various forms creating an impressive display of galactic diversity. Some floated in anti-gravity pods, others stood on multiple legs, and a few seemed to shift between solid and gas states. Dr. Gray stood to the side, monitoring the situation closely. After 3 years of studying humans, he still couldn't predict how this unpredictable species would behave. "Welcome, Ambassador Reed." Council member Root spoke through the universal translator, their tendrils moving in formal patterns. "We are honored to begin official diplomatic relations with Earth." Reed smiled warmly. "The honor is ours. Humanity has dreamed of this moment for centuries." Everything was going smoothly until the universal translator made a small error. Instead of translating Council member Root's next statement about peace and cooperation, it produced a series of nonsense sounds that sounded like blorp blorp wiggle snack time dance party. Reed tried to maintain his composure. He really did. But the completely ridiculous translation, combined with the serious expressions of all the aliens, broke through his diplomatic facade. He started to laugh. The reaction was instant and dramatic. 3 council members turned completely pale. 2 others activated their personal shields. 1 actually disappeared in a puff of smoke. Dr. Gray's assistant Park crystallized completely in shock. "The human is doing it," someone shouted. "The facial spasms have begun. Contain the situation." Another voice called out. Reed, seeing their panic, tried to stop laughing. But their reactions only made it funnier, and his laughter grew stronger. Dr. Gray rushed forward, his scientific curiosity overcoming his fear. His instruments detected no aggression, no hostile intent, and no dangerous chemicals being released. Just pure, genuine amusement. "Fascinating," he muttered, taking readings. "The human finds our fear of his laughter amusing, and this makes him laugh more. It's a feedback loop." Council member Root, braver than most, stepped forward. "Ambassador Reed, we must understand. You find a malfunction in our communication systems. Entertaining." Reed finally managed to control himself enough to speak. "I'm sorry," he said, wiping tears from his eyes. "It's just, the translator made you sound like a children's cartoon character." And then everyone panicked, and he had to take a deep breath to prevent another laughing fit. The council members exchanged confused looks. Their own species viewed technical malfunctions as serious problems requiring immediate correction. The idea of finding joy in such imperfection was alien to them. "You mean," Dr. Gray asked carefully, "you laugh not despite the malfunction, but because of it?" "Sometimes the unexpected things in life are the funniest," Reed explained, still grinning. "Humans often laugh when things don't go as planned. It helps us cope with problems and reduces tension." This concept spread through the council chamber like a shockwave. A species that could find positive emotions in negative situations, that could transform embarrassment into enjoyment. It contradicted everything they understood about rational behavior. News of the incident spread quickly through galactic communication channels. Reports focused on humanity's ability to derive pleasure from chaos and imperfection. Some civilizations saw it as a sign of madness. Others recognized it as a potentially valuable survival trait. Back in his private quarters that evening, Reed recorded his first diplomatic log. "First contact could have gone better. Could have gone worse too. At least we broke the ice with some unplanned comedy. Though I think we'll need to explain the concept of funny to our new alien friends. They seem like a tough crowd." Dr. Gray, reviewing the day's events, added his own note to the official record. "Human laughter remains unpredictable, but appears non-threatening. However, its ability to spread confusion through ordered diplomatic proceedings makes it a force to be reckoned with. Further study is essential." Professor Blue sat in his research lab aboard the galactic science vessel Truth Seeker, surrounded by screens showing different types of human laughter. His color-changing skin flickered between shades of confusion as he watched the recordings for the 100th time. "Play the battle footage again," he instructed his team of researchers. The screen lit up with images of human soldiers huddled in a trench under heavy fire. "Look there," he pointed with one of his 6 hands. "The humans are in clear danger. Their position is being bombed. Yet they're making jokes about their surgeon's cooking being worse than enemy attacks. And they're all laughing." His assistant, Dr. Spark, a being made of pure energy contained in a research suit, moved closer to the screen. "It seems to be some form of stress response. But instead of shutting down or running away, they become more effective fighters." The research team had spent months studying every type of human laughter they could find. They had divided their findings into categories, but each new discovery made things more complicated. Professor Blue pulled up another recording. This one showed humans watching something called a comedy movie. Notice how they laugh at things that aren't even real. They know the characters are actors, the situations are made up, yet they respond with genuine laughter. Most disturbing, Dr. Spark noted, is their ability to find humor in tragedy. Watch this recording from a human funeral. The screen showed people crying at a funeral, but then someone shared a funny story about the person who died. And suddenly, people were laughing through their tears. How can they cry and laugh at the same time? Professor Blue wondered aloud. It defies all logical emotional responses. The team's psychologist, Dr. Wave, floated forward in her gravity bubble. "I've been studying something humans call dad jokes. These are intentionally bad attempts at humor that still cause laughter. They laugh not because the joke is good, but because it's terrible. It makes no sense." Professor Blue's skin turned a deep shade of puzzlement. He moved to the central hologram display and pulled up their current list of laughter triggers. 1. Danger, nervous laughter. 2. Pain, gallows humor. 3. Sadness, finding joy in grief. 4. Wordplay, puns, and jokes. 5. Nothing at all, contagious laughter. 6. Bad jokes, sympathy laughter. 7. Embarrassment, laughing at oneself. 8. Victory, celebration. 9. Defeat, finding humor in failure. "Look at this list," he said, his voice filled with scientific amazement. Any other species would see these as separate emotional responses requiring different coping mechanisms. Humans use laughter for all of them. It's their universal tool for processing reality. Dr. Spark's energy form pulsed with excitement. Perhaps that's why they advance so quickly as a species. They can laugh at their failures, learn from them, and keep trying. While other species get discouraged by failure, humans find it amusing and continue forward. Just then, their research was interrupted by a human member of the cleaning staff who walked in, tripped on nothing, and started laughing at their own clumsiness. The entire alien research team froze in fascination, quickly taking notes. "See," Professor Blue whispered. "They even laugh at their own physical mishaps. Any other species would feel shame or embarrassment, but they turn it into a source of joy." As the human left, still chuckling, Dr. Wave made a startling observation. "Do you realize what this means? Humans are practically immune to psychological warfare. How do you demoralize a species that can laugh at their darkest moments?" Professor Blue's skin turned the color of revelation. "That's why the military command is so interested in our research. Humans don't just use laughter for emotional processing. It's their secret weapon, a defense mechanism that turns into an offense." He looked at his team, their various forms all showing signs of concern. "We need to expand our research. If we're going to understand humans, we need to understand their laughter. The fate of future galactic relations might depend on it." As if to emphasize his point, they heard more human laughter echoing down the corridor, making several junior researchers hide behind their equipment. General Storm of the Galactic Defense Force stood before the giant holographic display, his metallic scales reflecting the glow of battle footage from a dozen human conflicts. Around him, the top military minds from 30 alien civilizations watched in stunned silence. "Watch this human squad," he pointed with his armored claw. The display zoomed in on a group of soldiers trapped behind a broken wall. Enemy fire lit up the sky above them, and their situation looked hopeless. By all military logic, these humans should be paralyzed with fear, Storm continued. Instead, the audio feed crackled to life. "Hey Jack, remember when you said you wanted more excitement in your life?" One soldier called out to another. "Be careful what you wish for." The entire squad burst into laughter, even as they prepared their counterattack. "Impossible," muttered Commander Blade, his razor-sharp appendages clicking nervously. Their stress levels should be too high for complex planning. Yet they're not only forming strategies, but making jokes. The footage continued. The human squad, still chuckling, executed a perfect flanking maneuver. Their laughter seemed to confuse their enemies, who couldn't understand why anyone would sound happy in such a dangerous situation. General Storm switched to another recording. "This is even more disturbing. Human soldiers in a training exercise." The screen showed human Marines crawling through mud under barbed wire while their instructor shouted at them. Instead of being demoralized, the soldiers were grinning, making jokes about taking mud baths at a spa. Their ability to find humor in hardship makes traditional psychological warfare useless, Storm explained. "How do you break the spirit of warriors who laugh at their own suffering?" Commander Blade stepped forward, his combat sensors whirring. "We've analyzed thousands of battle recordings. The more pressure humans face, the more they joke and laugh. It seems to help them think clearly in chaos." The next footage showed human pilots performing dangerous maneuvers while trading jokes over their radio. Their laughter actually seemed to improve their coordination and timing. "It gets worse," General Storm said grimly. "Watch what happens when we try to intimidate them." The hologram showed an alien force using standard fear tactics: massive ships, scary armor, threatening messages. The humans responded by giving the alien ships funny nicknames and making jokes about their appearance. "They turned our psychological warfare against us," Commander Blade explained. "They called our most feared battle cruiser the Flying Toaster because of its shape. Our troops' morale dropped because they couldn't stop thinking about this insult disguised as humor." A strategic analyst floated forward in her energy field. "We must classify human laughter as a weapon of mass effect. It spreads through their ranks, boosts their performance, and undermines enemy morale. No other species has this capability." General Storm nodded, his scales darkening with concern. "I am officially recommending that humans be classified as a Death World species with anomalous cognitive responses. Their ability to laugh in combat situations gives them an unfair advantage." "But how do we defend against it?" asked a junior officer. "That's the problem," Commander Blade replied. "How do you fight an enemy that enjoys the challenge? Who finds amusement in your attempts to frighten them? Who bonds together by laughing at their own possible doom?" The room fell silent as the implications sank in. On the main screen, more footage played. Humans laughing while repairing vehicles under fire, joking while disarming bombs, finding humor in the most terrifying situations imaginable. General Storm made his final notes. "Traditional combat doctrine assumes that fear and stress will degrade enemy performance. But human laughter seems to cancel this effect. They use humor as a shield against fear and a weapon against despair. In doing so, they have changed the rules of warfare forever." As the military leaders filed out of the briefing room, the sounds of human laughter from the recordings seemed to follow them, a reminder that they faced an enemy who had found a way to turn joy into a tactical advantage. The Emergency Council of Cultural Protection met in their sealed chamber on the capital world of the Galactic Alliance. Bright warning signs flashed on every screen, showing the rapid spread of human entertainment across alien networks. Director Pine, head of the council, stared in horror at the latest reports. It's worse than we feared. Human comedy shows are being watched by millions of young aliens across 17 systems. The screens displayed various scenes: alien teenagers attempting to tell knock-knock jokes, young scientists trying to perform slapstick comedy, and even some brave souls attempting to reproduce human laughter. "Look at this," Pine pointed to a particularly troubling video. A group of young crystalline beings were watching something called cat videos and attempting to make laughing sounds. Their crystal bodies vibrated in strange ways as they tried to copy human behaviors. Council member Frost, an ancient being of pure thought, projected his concerns. The younger generations are being infected by this human concept of humor. They're starting to find things funny that have no logical reason to be amusing. The evidence was undeniable. Across the galaxy, alien youth were beginning to share jokes, create memes, watch human comedies, try stand-up comedy, make silly faces, play pranks. An analyst rushed in with more disturbing news. "Director, we've discovered something called dad jokes spreading through the quantum communication network. Even some of our most logical species are attempting to create these intentionally bad puns." Pine's color patterns showed deep distress. "Show me the worst example." The analyst played a recording of a young Voltran scientist. "Why don't quantum physicists starve?" "Because they can eat their particle board." The scientist then attempted human laughter, producing a sound like static electricity. "This is a disaster," Council member Frost declared. "These young aliens are learning to find humor in failure, to laugh at problems instead of solving them logically. They're beginning to act human." Director Pine pulled up more reports. Some alien cultures were already banning human entertainment, calling it a mimetic hazard. Others were creating special research teams to study and understand human humor, hoping to harness its power. "The humans call it comedy gold," an expert explained, showing more videos. "They take their greatest heroes and make fun of them. They turn their worst disasters into something called memes. Nothing is safe from their laughter." The council watched in amazement as clips from human entertainment spread across space faster than light itself. Jokes were being translated into hundreds of alien languages, often losing their meaning but somehow becoming even funnier in the process. A young alien scientist named Spark approached the podium. Unlike the others, she had spent time studying human humor directly. "Honorable Council, perhaps we're looking at this wrong. Human laughter isn't just chaos. It's a powerful tool for learning and adaptation." She showed examples: aliens learning to laugh at their mistakes instead of giving up, young ones using humor to handle stress, entire species discovering new ways to view the universe through the lens of comedy. "But it's changing our cultures," Pine protested. "Yes," Spark agreed, "but maybe some change is good." In every system where human humor has spread, we see increased creativity, better stress management, stronger social bonds, more resilient youth, greater adaptability. The council chamber erupted in debate. Some members demanded immediate action to stop the spread of human entertainment. Others argued that it was too late. The galaxy had gotten its first taste of humor, and there was no going back. As the meeting ended, Director Pine made his final note: "Human laughter continues to spread through the galaxy like a benevolent virus. We can't stop it. We can't control it. We can only hope to understand it before it changes us all." Outside the chamber, a group of young aliens gathered around a holoscreen, watching old human comedy shows, their various forms shaking with newly discovered laughter. The human colony on New Hope was facing its darkest hour. A massive solar storm had knocked out their main power grid, their crops were failing, and their emergency supplies were running dangerously low. 3 alien observation ships hovered in orbit, watching how humans would handle this crisis. "They should be panicking," Commander Light said, his glowing form dimming with confusion as he watched the colony's main shelter through high-powered cameras. "Their survival rate calculations are below 30%. Instead of panic, the observers witnessed something that defied all their emergency response models. The humans were putting on a show they called Comedy Night in the main shelter. "Welcome to the end of the World Comedy Club," a colony engineer announced to the crowded room. "Today's special is whatever food we have left, which might be mystery meat, might be recycled boots. Who knows? It's an adventure." The crowd erupted in laughter. On the observation ship, the aliens watched in bewilderment as more humans took turns making jokes about their terrible situation. "Did you hear about the solar storm?" one colonist asked. "It's the only thing on New Hope that's working overtime." More laughter filled the shelter. Commander Light turned to Professor Blue, who had been studying human laughter for months. "Explain this behavior. Their colony is in danger of collapse. Why are they not focusing all resources on survival?" Professor Blue's skin rippled with excitement. "But they are. Watch closely. While they laugh and joke, see how they're also organizing work teams, sharing resources, supporting each other, planning solutions, maintaining morale." The cameras zoomed in on various groups. Children were being taught to play power outage games. Engineers were making jokes while fixing crucial equipment. Farmers were holding a contest for the most creative emergency food recipe. Their laughter, Professor Blue explained, isn't just a response to the crisis. It's a tool they're using to fight it. Over the next few days, the alien observers documented everything. They watched in amazement as the colony's survival rate began to climb, defying all statistical models. A week into the crisis, Dr. Spark joined the observation team with new data. "Look at these stress hormone levels," she said, displaying her findings. "The humans who participate in these comedy sessions show significantly lower stress levels than predicted. They're literally laughing away their fear." Commander Light couldn't deny the evidence. The colony was surviving through a combination of technical skills, resource management, and most surprisingly, constant jokes about their situation. "They turned their disaster into entertainment," he noted with disbelief. "Every problem becomes material for their humor." When the colony's backup generator failed, they held a blackout party. When food rationing got stricter, they started a New Hope Diet Club, complete with jokes about weight loss. Every challenge became a source of laughter. By the end of the second week, the colony's survival rate had climbed to 70%. The aliens' predictive models couldn't explain it. "Here's what we missed," Professor Blue announced during the final briefing. "Human laughter serves multiple survival functions. It reduces stress and prevents panic. It strengthens social bonds during crisis. It keeps their minds clear for problem solving. It helps them face fears and challenges. It spreads hope and resilience through the group." As power was finally restored to the colony, the aliens made their most surprising observation yet. The humans seemed stronger, more united, and better prepared for future challenges. Their shared laughter had forged stronger bonds than any crisis management protocol could achieve. Commander Light's final report to the Galactic Council contained a revolutionary conclusion. Human laughter appears to be an evolved survival mechanism of extraordinary power. In crisis situations, it transforms group fear into group strength. We must revise all our previous assumptions about human psychological resilience. Down in the colony, as life returned to normal, the humans were already planning their next comedy night, turning their near disaster into stories that would keep them laughing for years to come. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was packed with representatives from every known civilization. Professor Blue stood at the center, his color-changing skin glowing with excitement as he prepared to present his final research findings on human laughter. Behind him, a massive screen showed thousands of recorded instances of human laughter, each categorized and analyzed over the past year. Dr. Gray, who had first discovered this strange human behavior, sat in the front row, eager to hear the conclusions. "Distinguished members of the council," Professor Blue began, "we have spent years studying what we once thought was a bizarre human malfunction. Today, I can tell you that we were wrong. Human laughter isn't a weakness. It's possibly the most powerful adaptive tool in the galaxy." The hall buzzed with murmurs as he displayed his first finding. Humans don't just laugh despite challenges. They laugh because of them. This changes everything we thought we knew about species survival. He showed video clips from their research. Soldiers laughing in battle. Colonists joking during disasters. Children learning through humorous games. Scientists chuckling at failed experiments. Friends bonding over shared laughter. Look at this data, he continued, displaying charts that tracked human survival rates. In every crisis situation, groups that maintained their ability to laugh showed significantly higher survival rates than those who didn't. Dr. Gray stood up to add his observations. We've discovered that human laughter serves multiple functions. It's a weapon against fear, a shield against despair, and a tool for building connections. Professor Blue's skin shifted to the color of revelation as he shared their most important discovery. Human laughter does something no technology in the galaxy can match. It can transform negative emotions into positive energy. They literally laugh their problems into smaller, more manageable pieces. The council members watched in amazement as he demonstrated how humans used laughter to challenge authority through humor, process traumatic events, strengthen group bonds, reduce conflict, teach complex ideas, face impossible odds. But here's what truly makes it powerful, Professor Blue explained. Humans can find humor in anything. Any situation, no matter how dark, can become a source of laughter. This makes them virtually indestructible psychologically. Dr. Spark, who had studied human comedy, stepped forward to share her findings. Their humor evolves constantly. Just when you think you understand human laughter, they invent new ways to use it. They even laugh at their own inability to make good jokes. The presentation concluded with a startling recommendation. We must stop fearing human laughter and start learning from it. Their ability to find joy in chaos, to laugh in the face of adversity, might be the key to our own species' evolution. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Some members still found human laughter disturbing, but others were beginning to understand its value. Young aliens in the audience were already trying to suppress their own attempts at laughter, having been influenced by human culture. Professor Blue made his final statement. Yes, human laughter is unpredictable. Yes, it defies our logical models. But perhaps that's exactly why it works. In an unpredictable universe, the ability to laugh at the unexpected might be the greatest survival trait of all. As the session ended, something unprecedented happened. A young alien in the audience told what humans would call a bad joke. Instead of disapproval, the joke was met with tentative alien attempts at laughter. The sound was strange, a mixture of clicks, hums, and crystalline vibrations, but it was definitely laughter. Dr. Gray, watching this, made his final note in the official record. Today marks a new chapter in galactic history. We started our research thinking human laughter was a sign of their weakness. We ended it realizing it might be the source of their greatest strength. The galaxy will never be the same, and maybe that's something we can all laugh about. In the years that followed, human laughter continued to spread across the stars, not as a terror to be feared, but as a gift to be shared.